Hi everyone, my name is Fairuz KP. I am an MTech student and my specialization is in Geotechnical Engineering. I am studying in IAS College of Engineering Chitrapalli, Thrissur. Here I wish to talk about the topic pile foundation. Pile foundation. If the soil at or near the ground surface is not capable of supporting a structure, then there will require a deep foundation to transfer the loads to deeper strata. Pile foundation is a type of deep foundation. And the pile is a slender structural member and it is made up of steel, concrete or wood. The pile either driven into the soil or formed in situ by excavating a hole and filling the hole with concrete. Usually the piles are driven in groups to provide foundations for large structures. The pile groups may subject to vertical loads, horizontal loads or a combination of vertical and horizontal loads. Pile foundations are required when the soil conditions are such that a washout, erosion or score of soil may occur from underneath a shallow foundation. And the pile foundations are used for the foundation of some structures such as transmission towers, offshore platforms which are subjected to uplift forces. In case of expansive soils such as black cotton soils which are swell or shrink as the water content changes, then the piles are used to transfer the load below the active zones. And in the case of collapsible soil such as loess, the soil have a breakdown of structure by a sudden decrease in water ratio and there is an increase in water content, then piles are used to transfer the load beyond the zone of possible moisture changes in such soils. Necessity of pile foundations. When the strata at or just below the ground surface is highly compressible and very weak to support the load transmitted by the structure, then there will provide a pile foundation. If the plan of the structure is irregular relative to its outline and load distribution, then there will cause a non-uniform settlement in case of shallow foundations. Then there will require a pile foundation to reduce the differential settlement. Pile foundation are required for the transmission of structural loads through a deep water to a firm stratum. And the pile foundations are used to resist horizontal forces in addition to support the vertical loads in earth retaining structures and tall structures that are subjected to horizontal forces due to wind and earthquake. Then classification of piles. The first one is classification of piles based on mode of transfer of loads. Based on the mode of transfer of loads, the piles are classified into three groups: point bearing or end bearing piles, friction piles and combined end bearing and friction piles. Point bearing or end bearing piles. If the piles are transmit the loads through their bottom tips, then it's called point bearing or end bearing piles. These piles are act as a column and transmit the load through a weak material to a firm stratum below. The ultimate bearing capacity of this pile depends upon the bearing capacity of hard stratum. The ultimate load carried by the pile Qu is equal to the load carried by the point or bottom end. That is Qu is equal to Qp, where Qu is the ultimate bearing capacity of the pile and Qp is the point resistance of the pile. The figure shows the end bearing piles. Friction piles. If the piles do not reach the hard stratum and the transfer of the load through skin friction between the embedded surface of the pile and the surrounding soil, then that type of piles are called friction piles. The friction piles are used when a hard stratum does not exist at a reasonable depth. The ultimate load Qu carried by the pile is equal to the load transferred by the skin friction. That is Qu is equal to Qs, where Qu is the ultimate bearing capacity of the pile and Qs is the skin friction resistance of the pile. The figure shows the friction piles. Combined end bearing and friction piles. If the transfer of the load by a combination of end bearing at the bottom of the pile and friction along the surface of the pile shaft, then that type of piles are called combined end bearing and friction piles. Here, the ultimate load carried by the pile is equal to the sum of the load carried by the pile point QP and the load carried by the skin friction QS. That is, QU is equal to QP plus QS, where QU is equal to ultimate bearing capacity of pile and QP is equal to point resistance of the pile, QS is equal to skin friction resistance of the pile shaft. The figure shows the combined end bearing and friction piles. Classification of piles based on materials. Based on the materials, the piles are classified into 4 groups: steel piles, concrete piles, timber piles and composite piles. Steel piles. Steel piles are generally either in the form of thick pipes or rolled steel edge sections. Pipe steel piles are driven into the ground with their ends open or closed. Epoxy coatings are applied during the manufacture of pipes to reduce corrosion of the steel piles. Sometimes the concrete encasement at site is done as a protection against corrosion. Concrete piles. Cement concrete is used in the construction of concrete piles. Concrete piles are either precast or cast in situ piles. Precast concrete piles are prepared in a factory or a casting yard. Reinforcements are provided to resist handling and driving stresses. The precast piles can also be pre-stressed using high-strength steel pre-tensioned cables. A cast in situ pile is constructed by making a hole in the ground and then filling it with concrete. A cast in situ pile may be cased or uncased. A cased pile is constructed by driving a steel casing into the ground and filling it with concrete. An uncased pile is constructed by driving the casing to the desired depth and gradually withdrawing the casing when fresh concrete is filled. Timber piles. Timber piles are made from tree trunks after proper trimming. The timber used to construct timber piles should be straight, sound and free from defects. Steel shoes are provided to prevent damage during driving and metal band is provided to avoid damage to the top of the pile. Splicing is done using pipe sleeve or metal straps and bolts. Timber piles below the water table have generally long life and above the water table these are attacked by insects. The life of the timber piles can be increased by preservatives such as creosote oil. The timber piles should not be used in marine environment where are attacked by various organisms. Composite piles. Composite piles are made of 2 materials. These are consist of the lower portion of steel and the upper portion of cast in situ concrete. Also, they have the lower portion of timber below the permanent water table and upper portion of concrete. It is difficult to provide proper joints between the two dissimilar materials in composite piles, so the composite piles are used very rarely. The figure shows the types of piles based on materials: concrete piles, steel piles, steel edge section piles, timber piles, precast concrete piles, composite piles. Classification of piles based on method of installation. Driven piles. Piles are driven into the soil by applying blows of heavy hammer on their tops. Then it is called driven piles. Driven and cast in situ piles. The piles are formed by driving a casing with a closed bottom end into the soil and the casing is filled with concrete. Then it is called driven and cast in situ piles. In this case, the casing may or may not be withdrawn. Bored and cast in situ piles. If the piles are formed by excavating a hole into the ground and then the hole is filling with concrete, then it is called bored and cast in situ piles. Screw piles. If the piles are screwed into the soil, then it is called screw piles. Jacked piles. The piles are jacked into the soil by applying a downward force on the top of the pile with the help of a hydraulic jack. Then it is called jacked piles. Classification of piles based on displacement of soil. Based on displacement of soil, the piles are classified into two types: displacement piles and non-displacement piles. First one, displacement piles. All driven piles are displacement piles because the soil is displaced laterally when the pile is installed. In this case, the soil gets densified while driving the pile. The installation of the pile may cause heaving of the surrounding ground. In displacement piles, there is high displacement piles and low displacement piles. The closed-end pipe piles are high displacement piles and steel edge piles are low displacement piles. Non-displacement piles. All bored piles are non-displacement piles. In bored piles, the soil is removed when the hole is bored, so there is no displacement of soil during the installation of pile. Here, a little change in the stress in the surrounding soil during the installation of the pile. Uses of piles. The major uses of piles are to carry vertical compression load in vertical piles, to resist uplift load, and to resist horizontal or inclined loads. Classification of piles based on use. First one, load bearing piles. The piles are used to transfer the load to a suitable stratum by end bearing, by friction, or both. Then it is called load bearing piles. Compaction piles. If the piles are driven into loose granular soil to increase the relative density, then it's called a compaction piles. In compaction piles, the bearing capacity of the soil is increased due to the densification caused by the vibration. The figure shows the compaction pile. Tension piles. These piles are in tension, and tension piles are used to anchor down structures subjected to hydrostatic uplift forces or overturning forces. The figure shows the tension pile. Here the pile is in tension. Then next is sheet piles. Sheet piles form a continuous wall or bulkhead which is used for retaining earth or water. Fender piles. Fender piles are sheet piles which are used to protect waterfront structures from impact of ship and vessels. Anchor piles. These piles are used to provide anchorage for anchored sheet piles. These piles are provide resistance against horizontal pull for a sheet pile wall. Laterally loaded pile. If the pile supports horizontal or inclined forces such as foundations of retaining walls, bridges, dams, etc., then it is called a laterally loaded pile. If the lateral loads are large, then they may be effectively resisted by providing batters, then it is called batter piles. The first figure shows the laterally loaded piles and the second figure shows the batter piles. Bearing capacity of single pile in sand and clays. Here we discuss isostatic methods only. Ultimate bearing capacity. Ultimate bearing capacity is the maximum load which pile can carry without failure or excessive settlement of ground. Then allowable load. The load which can be imposed upon the pile with an adequate margins of safety, then it's called allowable load. Allowable load is defined as the ratio of ultimate load to a suitable factor of safety, that is QA is equal to QU divided by F, where QA is equal to allowable load, QU is the ultimate bearing capacity of pile, and F is equal to the factor of safety. Static method depends upon the characteristics of soil by considering a pile which transfer the load by means of point resistance and skin friction. In static method, the ultimate load can be calculated as QU is equal to QP plus QS, where QU is the ultimate bearing capacity of the pile, QP is the point resistance of the pile, and QS is the skin friction resistance of the pile shaft. Here QP and QS are calculated separately based upon the state of stresses around the pile and on the shear pattern that develops at failure. Then first we are calculate QP, that is point bearing resistance. QP is equal to AP into QP, where QP is the ultimate bearing capacity of soil at the pile tip and AP is the cross sectional area of pile tip in meter square. Then we have to find out QS, that is skin friction resistance. QS is equal to AS into FS, where AS is the surface area of pile shaft in contact with the soil, that is in m square, and Fs is equal to average unit skin friction for the pile soil system. Therefore, the ultimate load carrying capacity Qu is equal to AP into small qp plus As into Fs. Bearing capacity of single pile in clay. We know that allowable load Qu is equal to Qp plus Qs. That is Qp is equal to AP into Qp. In the case of coarse soils, Qp is expanded as Cp into Nc. That is, capital Qp is equal to AP into Cp into Nc, where Nc is the bearing capacity factor and Cp is the coefficient at the pile tip, and Cp in kilonewton per meter square. And the second term Qs is equal to As into Fs. Here in coarse soil, Fs is expanded as alpha into C, where C is the average coefficient. So, the ultimate load carrying capacity of pile in coarse soil is given by Qu is equal to AP into Cp into Nc plus sigma I is equal to 1 to n ASI into alpha I into Ci, where Ci is the average coefficient for the ith layer, that is in kilonewton per meter square. ASI is the surface area of pile shaft in ith layer, that is in meter square. The surface area is calculated by perimeter of pile into length of the pile. In equation 1, the first term gives the load bearing resistance and the second term gives the skin friction resistance. Bearing capacity of single pile in sand. The ultimate bearing capacity Qu of pile in granular soil or coarser soil is given by Qu is equal to AP into 0.5 gamma d into n gamma plus PD into nq plus sigma I is equal to 1 to n Ki into PDI into tan delta I into ASI. In this equation, the first term gives the end bearing resistance and the second term gives the skin friction resistance, where AP is equal to cross sectional area of the pile tip, that is in meter square. D is equal to diameter or width of pile shaft in meter. Gamma is equal to effective unit weight of the soil at pile tip, that is in kilonewton per meter cube. N gamma NQ is equal to bearing capacity factors depending upon the angle of internal friction phi and pile tip. Then PDI is equal to effective overburden pressure for the ith layer, that is in kilonewton per meter square. ASI is equal to surface area of pile shaft. Then delta I is equal to angle of wall friction between the pile and soil. Then PD is equal to effective overburden pressure at pile tip, and Ki is equal to coefficient of earth pressure. Let us discuss about problems thus relating to bearing capacity of piles in sand and clays. First problem. A close-ended 500 mm diameter pile is driven into sand at 11 meter depth. The water table is at 2 meter below ground level and sand has phi is equal to 45 degree and gamma is equal to 20.1 kilonewton per meter cube. Estimate the pile allowable vertical load, and taking Fo is equal to 2.5, Nq is equal to 60 and K is equal to 1. First we have to write given data, that is diameter D is equal to 500 mm, height H is equal to 11 meter, water table is at a depth of 2 meter below ground level, phi is equal to 45 degree, gamma is equal to 20.1 kilonewton per meter cube, factor of safety is equal to 2.5, Nq is equal to 60 and K is equal to 1. We know the equation for Q allowable, that is Qp plus Qs. First we have to find out the QP, that is QP is equal to AP into gamma DF into NQ. Then we have to find out the value of QP, that is 1544.48 kilonewton. Then we have to find out the value of QS. For finding the QS equal to PKS tan delta sigma L is equal to 0 to L sigma V dash delta L. Delta is equal to 2 by 3rd of the 5, that is 2 by 3 of 45. Then we have to find the value of QF by using the equation. By substituting the values in the equation, we will get the value 730.96 kilonewton for QS. Then we have to find Q allowable is equal to QP plus QS, that is 1544.48 plus 730.96, that is 2275.44 kilonewton. Second question. A 450 mm wide square section concrete pile is driven in a deep deposit of clay. The confined compressive strength is 75 kilonewton per meter square. The safe load is taken as 350 kilonewton. Assume factor of safety to be 2.5 and determine the length of pile if alpha is equal to 0.8. We know the equation for ultimate bearing capacity. QU is equal to CNC AP plus alpha CU AS. Here safe load is given as 350 kilonewton. That is, ultimate load divided by factor of safety is the safe load. Then we got the ultimate bearing load QU is equal to 350 into 2.5, that is 875 kilonewton. Then AP is equal to A square, that is this section is square, therefore area is equal to A square, that is 0.45 square, and AS is equal to perimeter into length. The section is square, therefore perimeter is equal to 4A into length is L. Then AS is equal to 1.L. For square sections, NC, that is bearing capacity factor NC is equal to 9. Then apply the values in equation. QU is equal to CNC AP plus alpha CUS. Then we will got 875 is equal to 68.34 plus 54L. From this equation we can find out the value of L is equal to 14.94, that is 15 meter. Dynamic formula for ultimate bearing capacity. Here we discuss about only modified Hailey formula. The modified Hailey formula is based on the laws governing the impact of elastic bodies. The impact energy of the hammer blow is equal to the work done in overcoming resistance of the ground to the penetration of the pile. Here the allowance is made for the losses of energy due to elastic contraction of pile, pile cap and subsoil and the inertia of the pile. So the equation for ultimate bearing capacity QU is equal to WH into eta B into eta H divided by S plus C by 2, where eta H is equal to efficiency of hammer blow, H is equal to height of free fall of hammer, that is in centimeter, W is equal to weight of hammer, and S is equal to final set or penetration per blow, that is in centimeter, and C is equal to sum of temporary elastic compression of the pile, dolly, packings and ground, that is C1 plus C2 plus C3 plus etc. Here the efficiency of hammer blow eta H is depends upon weight of hammer, weight of pile, weight of helmet follower, weight of anvil and coefficient of restitution. If weight of hammer W is greater than EP, then efficiency of hammer blow eta B is equal to W plus E square P divided by W plus P, and W is less than EP, then eta B is equal to W plus E square P divided by W plus P minus W minus EP divided by W plus P the whole square. Next is pile load test. The pile load test is the most reliable method for determining the load carrying capacity of piles. The pile load test setup is consists of two anchor piles provided with a reaction girdle at their top. The test pile is installed between the two anchor piles, and the test pile should be at least 3B or 2.5 meter clear from the anchor piles. The figure shows the pile load test setup. Here we can see the two anchor piles and test pile in between the anchor piles and a reaction girder above the anchor pile, and load is applied by hydraulic jack. In pile load test, the load is applied through a hydraulic jack resting on the reaction girder. The measurement of pile movements are taken with respect to a fixed reference mark. The pile load test is conducted after a rest period of 3 days for sandy soil and 1 month for silty sand and soft clays. The load is applied in equal increment of about 20% of allowable load. The settlement should be recorded with 3 dial gauges. The loading is maintained till the rate of movement of pile top is not more than 0.1 mm per hour in sandy soil and 0.02 mm per hour in clay soil. The settlements are observed at 0.5, 1, 2, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 and 60 minutes. The loading is continued up to twice the safe load or total settlement reaches a specified value. Then the load is removed in the same decrements at 1 hour and final value is recorded 24 hours after the entire load has been removed. From the pile load test, we can plot a graph between load and settlement. This is called a load settlement curve. Here, x-axis indicates the load and y-axis indicates the settlement. In this graph, both loading and unloading conditions are indicated. For any given load, the net pile settlement Sn is given by Sn is equal to St minus Se, where Se is equal to total settlement or gross settlement and Se is equal to elastic settlement, that is rebound. Next one is negative skin friction. When a soil layer surrounding the pile shaft settles more than the pile, then there is a down drag occurs on the pile. This is called a negative skin friction. The negative skin friction is usually a downward shear drag acting on the pile because of downward movement of surrounding soil relative to the piles. This shear drag movements are occurs when a pile penetrates into compressible soil layer that can consolidate. Causes of negative skin friction. Newly placed fill material on compressible soil before the completion of consolidation. Then there is a chance to negative skin friction. If fill material is loose cohesionless soil, then there is be a chance to cause negative skin friction. When fill material is deposited over layer of soft soil, there is also occur negative skin friction. If the groundwater table is lowering, then increases the effective stress and it causes consolidation of soil with the resultant settlement, and it causes a friction force development on the pile. If skin friction is occurred, then the net ultimate load carrying capacity of the pile is calculated by Qu dash is equal to Qu minus Qnsf, where Qu dash is the net ultimate load and Qnsf is equal to negative skin friction. The negative skin friction would impose undesirable large downward drag on the pile. The large downward drag on the pile can be eliminated by providing a protective sleeve or providing a coating on the pile shaft. Pile groups. When there are more than one pile in a row, then it is termed as a pile group. The piles are connected in a pile group by a pile cap. The pile cap is a thick rigid concrete slab, and the pile cap would normally be in contact with the ground. The piles are most effective when combined in groups. The pile groups are used when eccentric loads are transferred to the ground. The minimum of 3 piles will be in a pile group. For large columns, a minimum of 3 piles are required. The spacing of the piles in a group depends on overlapping of stresses of adjacent pile, desired efficiency of group pile, and cost of the foundation. The functions of pile group are reduce foundation settlement and increase the bearing capacity of the soil. The figure shows the typical pile groups. Necessity of pile groups. Pile groups are used when column loads are heavy Method of installation of pile is by driving and to resist the uplift forces. Pile group capacity. Pile group capacity is the sum of individual capacities of the pile. The pile group capacity is influenced by spacing between the piles. The end-bearing piles and friction piles are considered in evaluating capacity. For evaluating the group capacity of pile, there should be some assumptions. They are: a pile foundation should be safe against shear failure and settlement should be within the permissible limit. Pile group efficiency. Pile group efficiency is defined as the ratio of group capacity to the sum of capacities of number of piles. That is, eta g is equal to QGU divided by N into QU into 100, where QGU is the ultimate load of the pile group, QU is the ultimate load of individual pile, and N is the number of pile in a group. The figure shows the group of pile. The pile group efficiency depends on spacing of piles, total number of piles in a row, number of rows in a group, and characteristics of pile. The center to center spacing of piles in a pile group is kept as 2.5b and 3.5b, where b is the diameter of the pile. In dense sand, the group efficiency may be either greater or less than unity. The figure shows the single and group action of piles in a pile group. Bearing capacity of pile groups. In coarse soils, if the center to center spacing of piles in a coarse soil is greater than 3d, d is the diameter of the pile, then capacity of the pile group QGU is equal to N into QU. Here the efficiency of the group is 100%. If center to center spacing of the pile is less than 3d, then QGU is equal to QP into AG plus alpha C PG into D. Here individual capacity is given by QU is equal to QP AP plus alpha C into PD. In cohesionless soils, for end-bearing piles, if the center to center spacing of pile is greater than 3d, then capacity of pile group QGU is equal to N into QU. Here the efficiency of the pile group is 100%. For friction piles, the group capacity QGU is equal to Fs into As, that is Fs into Pg into D. Then QU is equal to Fs into P into D. Here the efficiency of the group is eta g is equal to Fs Pgd divided by Fs Pd into 100. Finally, we have to discuss the problem about the pile groups. First question: a group of 16 piles 50 cm diameter are arranged center to center spacing of 1 meter. Piles are 9 meter long and are embedded in a soft clay with cohesion 30 kN per meter square. The bearing resistance may be neglected. Addition factor is 0.6 and determine the load capacity of the pile group. The given data are: the diameter of the pile is 50 cm, number of piles is 16 numbers, and the center to center spacing is 1 meter, length of pile is 9 meter, cohesion of soil C is equal to 30 kN per meter square, and addition factor alpha is equal to 0.6. We have the equation for ultimate load capacity QU is equal to CNC AP plus CU alpha AS. Here the bearing resistance may be neglected. So the first term in the equation will be 0 and the remaining is CU alpha AS. The value of CU and alpha are given in the question. Then AS is equal to perimeter into length, that is pi into D into L. Then QU is equal to CU alpha AS. Then we will get a value for CU. There is 16 piles in this group. Therefore QU allowable is equal to 16 into 254.469. Then the pile group capacity Qg allowable is equal to CNCAg plus alpha into C into Pg. Substituting the values in the equation, we will get the capacity of the pile group. Second question. A pile group consists of 9 friction piles of 30 cm diameter and 10 meter length driven in clay. Cu is equal to 100 kN per meter square, gamma is equal to 20 kN per meter cube as shown in figure. Determine the safe load for the group. Factor of safety is equal to 3 and addition factor alpha is equal to 0.6. For the capacity of group, QGU is equal to QPAG plus alpha C PG into D. By substituting the values in the equation, we get the answer for the QGU, that is 7236 kilonewton. Then we have to find the capacity of individual piles, that is QU is equal to QP AP plus C alpha P into D. Then we get a value for QU is equal to 628.8 kilonewton. Here the number of piles are 9. Then group capacity QGU is equal to N into QU, that is 9 into 628.8 is equal to 5659.2 kilonewton. The ultimate load for individual pile failure is less than the pile group load. Then the safe load is given by QA is equal to QGU divided by factor of safety, that is 5659.2 divided by 3 is equal to 1886.4 kilonewton. Thank you.